Hey guys, it's been an interesting day today. So I can't remember what I've all told you guys already. But either way, we ended up loading here up in Klesnikov, just north of Castlegar here. And because our Seattle load wasn't ready yet, so we ended up having to take a different load here at Klesnikov. And it's going to Richmond, or Modern Terminal in Richmond. What do you guys think of my shocks, huh? Jess doesn't like them at all. I think she's like, they weren't in style in the 70s, and they're not in style now. Turn that radio off. So I loaded here at Klesnikov, and my rear pup, the tire pressure, or not the tire pressure, the suspension gauge read a little light. I'm like, like, why is it reading so low air pressure? But it slowly came up. I'm like, okay. Slowly building air pressure. I'm not sure what's going on there, but went down to KIW. It's a couple miles down the road to Tarp. And once I tarped there, I'm looking at my tires, and I'm like, the tires on the pup seem flat. They look like they're low air pressure. That can be super deceiving. I've had tires that look flat. You take out the tire pressure gauge, pop it on there, and they're full pressure. Depends on how the weight is distributed and everything. But I'm like, something's just off. And like, the little voice in your head just goes, go check the tire pressures. So my trailers have the automatic filling tires. So they have air hoses going to each tire, and all the air pressures are kept exactly even through all the tires. So if you get a nail in a tire, it'll keep filling that tire for the rest of ever. If you have a really tiny leak, you'll never notice it. Unless you can hear the leak in the tire, you'll never notice it that you have a nail. And I've had nails in the tires and never noticed it until I physically saw the tire walking around. The nail happened to be in a spot I could see it. So I took the tire pressure. Okay, 60 psi on that one tire. I'm like, interesting, let's try another tire. 60 psi. Let's try some more tires. All 60 psi. Okay, that was all the rear trailer. I went to the front trailer, 100 psi. Every tire is 100 psi. I'm like, what's going on here? Look at my suspension air gauge. It's still sitting lower than it should be. It's like we got a full load on there. It should be around 70, 75, somewhere in there is my guess where it should be. So I called dispatch. He didn't know either. It was really strange. So he made some phone calls, and then they asked me, and it's like, is there enough air in those tires that you feel comfortable driving to Bill's heavy duty? I'm like, yeah, I'll take my time. The tire's going to be really spongy, so that rear pup could swing on you around corners. It'd be really easy to lose control, so I'm like, be very aware of that. It's like the rear trailer is driving on jello type of a feeling. That was my dispatcher's description. It's like, yep. I don't know if you've ever driven like a pickup or a car where the rear tires are flat, how wiggly and funny it feels. That's how my pup was acting. So I just took my time, especially around the corners. All the tires thumped really nice and solid and hard, so they were all under pressure. So I'm not running them flat or doing damage to them as long as I don't overheat them. So drove to Bill's Heavy Duty. They're looking at it and going, I don't know, So started looking at where that system, the system has air hoses all over the place. Once that thing starts having problems, I think you're better off just to disconnect all the air hoses and manually keep the tire pressures up. And that's what I was going to do if they couldn't figure it out in a hurry there. I was just going to take the little hoses off, manually fill the tires, and then just get driving and then fix it later on sometime. But he just goes, there's just a tiny little bit of air coming in, goes to the air tank, and sure enough, the protection valve is letting very, very little air through. So it's just a protection valve. And that protection valve controls the air suspension and the tire pressure. I'm going to turn you guys around. So they replaced that protection valve, and I still don't have full tire inflation. It takes a real long time to inflate all the tires, but they were at 75 when I decided to go. I'm like, they're all inflating. So as we drive, they'll keep inflating until they're up to 100. The suspension's right up to 72 psi where I was expecting it to be. It's like perfect. The tires don't look like they're bulging anymore. It's like, okay, we're good to go. So we're climbing Bonanza Pass. We just call it the Paulson. I think if you look at it technically, I think this part is called the Bonanza, where Highway 3A goes south to Rossland. I think that's called the Strawberry, and then the actual summit is Paulson. I think there's several passes within the pass type of thing. Yeah, Jess doesn't like my chops at all. She just goes, no. I came out of the bathroom after I cut my own hair. She just looks at me and goes, no. And that's why you wouldn't let me help you cut your hair. She just goes, no, not happening. I'm like, yes it is. It's happening at least for 1 week. I'm gonna have my chops for 1 week. I don't know if it really suits me. It's just fun to do something different. By the weekend, I'll cut it all the way off and then start growing my beard again. I was looking so darn scruffy. I was thinking of keeping the whole scruffy look and then keep the chops for a week. But I'm like, I'm so irritated at this long hair already, I just need to chop it all off. So I'm like, I'll trim it all shorter and keep my chops at like half of the length that my beard was. Should have done it maybe a week or two earlier, and then I could have kept the whole big fuzzy. Kind of fun. Fun to do something different. I don't like going beardless. It doesn't suit me either. I enjoy a short beard. Lots of road closures again. I was reading, and they're always short road closures. They just close for an hour or so, and then just basically clean up the mudslide, clean up the rock slide, small avalanche, and then so yeah, it's been an eventful day. This is my first time I've got a load on me today, and it's past, it's 5 o'clock and I'm finally hauling a load. If dispatch had known the load wasn't going to be ready for me in Grand Forks, they would have found me a load up by Vernon. I wouldn't have had to drive all this way empty. At least I'm assuming they would have found me a load up there. But stuff happens. Oh, there's a bit of a mudslide area there. So I forget who. Somebody commented on my video and said we must see a lot of wildlife, and it's surprising we see very little wildlife in a big rig. I think it's a sound thing. The big rig is so much noisier. When we're in our pickup is a small, quiet, 4-cylinder pickup. We see so much more wildlife in our pickup than we do in the big rig. Because the big rig, you got the turbo spooling up, that high-pitched whining noise. I think it scares all the animals off the road. I thought when I started trucking a year and a half ago, I was going to see wildlife like crazy, because every time we drive to Vancouver in our pickup, we see deer and mountain goat and mountain sheep and bears, and it's like all the stuff we see, wolves. And in the big rig, every once in a while. So I do want to get a dash cam so that I'm recording everything, just keeps recording over itself. And if I also do see a bear, because when I do see the bear, it's too late to hit the record button on this camera. If I do see a bear, I can grab the dash cam footage and show you guys. Most of the time when we do see wildlife, it's usually at night. See a wolf every now and then. See elk quite a bit when we get closer to the Alberta border. And we see deer, but nothing like driving in our personal vehicle. Yeah, it's getting dark already. There's no way I'm making it to Vancouver. Not a chance I am making it there. I don't know if I'll make it to Hope. I'll probably sleep in Manning Park somewhere. That's my guess. That'd be a nice place to wake up. Manning Park. Yeah, I could go for that. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hit the thumbs up. I'm going to keep climbing the Paulson here. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll see what life throws at me tomorrow. It's been an interesting first day of the week, that's for sure.